your statements, each one of them. And I'm truly sorry to everyone I've hurt.
For years, California lived in fear of a shadow that moved silently through neighborhoods at night. He was known by many names: the East Area Rapist, the original Night Stalker, and eventually the Golden State Killer. Behind all those names was one man, Joseph James DeAngelo. It began in the mid-1970s. At first, the attack seemed isolated. A break-in here, a terrified victim there, nothing that immediately connected the cases. But over time, a pattern emerged. A man was entering homes late at night, often in quiet suburban communities where people felt safe. He would carefully watch his targets in advance, learning their routines, studying when they came and went, and choosing the exact moment to strike when they were most vulnerable. Inside the homes, the terror escalated. He would confront victims while they were asleep, often binding them and threatening them into silence. The fear he created was not only physical but psychological. He would speak to them, taunt them, and in many cases remain in the home for hours, turning the victim's own space into something unrecognizable. What made him even more disturbing was how controlled and methodical he was. There was no chaos in his actions, only precision. As the years passed, the crime spread across California. Different regions began reporting similar attacks, but investigators did not yet realize they were hunting the same person. The case became a patchwork of different investigations that struggled to connect. Meanwhile, the offender continued to evolve. In later years, the violence escalated further, and some of the attacks ended in murder, deepening the fear and confusion surrounding the case. The public lived with uncertainty. People locked doors more tightly, installed new security systems, and avoided being alone at night. Entire communities felt like they were being watched. Despite extensive investigations, thousands of leads, and endless fear-driven speculation, the killer remained unidentified. It seemed as though he had disappeared completely, leaving behind only trauma and unanswered questions. Then, decades later, everything changed. Advances in DNA technology opened a new path forward. Investigators revisited old evidence from crime scenes and compared it with modern genetic databases. Slowly, they began building a family tree of possible suspects. Each step narrowed the search further until a name began to emerge from the shadows of history. That name led them to a surprising place: a former police officer living an ordinary life. Joseph James DeAngelo was arrested in 2018, ending a decades-long manhunt that had once seemed impossible to solve. In court, he eventually admitted to dozens of crimes, including multiple murders and many sexual assaults. The man who had once evaded capture for so long was finally held accountable, sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The case of the Golden State Killer remains one of the most chilling reminders of how long justice can take and how silence can last a decade before the truth finally comes to light.